I'm Sylvia Ditchburn. I'm a visual artist. When I met my husband 55 years ago, we decided we wanted to move around a bit, so we came up north. So we've stayed in Townsville for a number of years. I went on to do a graduate diploma in museum curatorship, and then I did a master's and then a PhD. Well, I've always been in love with the landscape. I just love the natural environment, and I've done a lot of plein air painting out in Central Australia. I've done art safaris out there, and I've loved the tropics. I've done a lot of tropical work. We belong to the Bird Observers Club, and they used to have a breakfast, birders' breakfast, and I'd never heard of Loam Island before, and I didn't know where it was, so they had the breakfast there, and after we'd finished we all went wandering around having a look for birds, and I was just amazed at the beautiful 𝗘𝗅𝗵𝗶𝗯𝗶𝗁𝗂 and all the lilies and the birds, and so I took a lot of photos, of course, and then we went back several times. I did some plein air painting there and sketching and so forth. I happened to come across an exhibition of Sydney Nolans called River Bend, and it was done in the round, a panorama. As artists do, I was just thinking about what I would do for my next exhibition, and I thought, that may work, just using Loam Island as that, because I wanted that immersion. I was really impressed with how Nolan's work was going, for the way he put together his River Bend, because I didn't want just a series of individual paintings. I wanted it to be more than that. Well, the way I work with my paintings is that I always like to go to the environment to collect my images, but because this exhibition was large works, it's too difficult for me to do them in the field. So what I was doing was we went out and I walked along the path and sort of did a series of sketches and took photos, and then I had to when I came back, I had to sort them out in how they would look together. I didn't really want it to flow on too much, but I think that how they've worked is, I wanted to have an upward look, and I wanted to have a downward look, and I wanted to have different perspectives so that people found it interesting. And also the birds, I've managed to put in the jacana bird and the cormorant, cockatoos and so forth. There's so many birds that are around there, so it's lovely. When I decided to do it in the round, or the panorama, we came into the gallery and measured it up. Then Ken made the canvases for me. Then I had to prepare them all. And after that, I had to do the drawings. I did the drawing in pencil on the canvas. Well, it's taken me a long time to develop this show, because I put in my proposal about 2014, and with this sort of an exhibition, you can't just be a Sunday painter. It's an exhibition that you've got to, once you start it, you really have to keep going. Otherwise, you lose the flow of it. You've got, the colours will change because you've left it too long to mix up what you wanted. And when I've actually started the paintings, it's been about 6 months. I put the last brushstroke on Sunday. I had to be very diligent and keep painting every day, not all day, but every day, and until it was done. Well, I'd never really been a fan of palette knife, but I discovered the spatulas, which palette knives are only small knives, and flexible. They can be a bit longer, but they're usually very flexible and thin. But I went to you can't get them at the art shop, you've got to go to the cooking shop. And they've got quite a lot of them used for icing cakes. So it was an experiment to get the right shape and the flexibility of the knife to use on it. You can't just have a little spot, it's got to be a real lump of paint. And you gather up your paint and then you put it on the trunk, and you just get this beautiful textured effect, like the paper barks. That would emulate the paper barks, which are a beautiful feeling. My studio at home is, well, we bought the house because of the studio. It was a family room. It was ideal for me, and it was quite large. Of course, it's never large enough for a painter once you start going in there, putting all your work in there. What I would do with that, there's lots of things like your music and your easel, brushes, and a wet palette. A wet palette is, I've managed to get, you can make your own, I guess, but it's quite a large one, and the base of it is a sort of a spongy fabric you wet, and then you put your baking paper over the top. So your acrylic paint, and especially in this climate, it tends to dry out more rapidly than you want, and then you can put a lid on it at the end of the day, so you've still got your paint there for the next day. The best advice I was given was don't give up, keep going, even when you feel like no one loves you. And it is true, you'll have doubts about yourself fairly early in your career, but if it's something you love, you've really got to stay with it. But you've got to try different things and try different techniques and have a look at a lot of art and go to some artists' workshops and so forth. It's always, they're really good information to help you along the way. You can discard what you don't like. The challenges I face when I'm presenting my artwork is finding the right gallery for my work, but you have to have the right proposal, to be accepted. And you have to be very sure of what you're going to do, and do your research, have it backed up by some drawings and information that you're going to put forward, and some previous work, because the gallery is not going to take you very seriously if you haven't done that sort of thing. Also selling work, because it costs a lot of money to be an artist. It's very expensive, so that's another challenge to get over. I've been fortunate people have liked my work, so I've had a lot of support over the years. Living in North Queensland, it has its benefits and its disadvantages. You're in a smaller pool of artists, so whereas if you're in a city, you'd have there are more opportunities because it's larger, there's more things happening, more galleries, but there's a bigger pool of artists there, so it's 6 of one and half a dozen the other. You can always send your work down to galleries there. As regarding COVID, I think it's been disastrous for the arts. But with regard to my gallery, I did have the gallery in Ogden Street for 10 years, and then we moved over to Flinders Street for that opportunity came about. It was a really good position. There's not many galleries that are in the main street. Yeah, but there was no one in the CBD, and definitely those people weren't spending money on art. So we closed it down. And of course, I have got a website, but it's nowhere near as good, yet, as the shop front. Oh yes, I'd really like to thank the Perc Tucker Gallery for hosting my show, and had a lovely catalogue and an essay by Louise Martin-Chew. She wrote a lovely essay. Also my husband for the video he made, which enlarges on the exhibition, and everybody who's supported my work. So, thank you.